Welcome, everyone.
Blite Nation, this is part 3 and the final part of it.
Me and Vito and Liz coming back at you for the third time with this one.
I don't even want to finish
I
it.
know part 2 got dark real fucking quick.
I don't want to finish this.
Hopefully, we're getting out of this darkness and let's see how this plane lands. But again, part 2 was something, especially the ending, that every parent needed to see.
All right.
What they're doing to the kids right now is the whole issue. What you decide to do as an adult is one thing.
This shit's dark, bro.
What's going on with the children all around the world is what everybody's big problem is. And that's not transphobic. Let a kid be a kid. A kid has no idea what their sexuality is. They shouldn't have to.
A kid is learning. Parents are teaching their kids
bro.
as they grow about what's life about. Everything. Don't take their innocence away.
Let them be
This is what they're doing. They're taking their innocence away.
Ian, hit that play button. Let's get part 3 rolling. Let's see where this plane lands.
Is age 16.
Do you worry that minors just don't understand enough about themselves? They're not neurologically developed enough yet to make permanent life-altering decisions?
Absolutely not.
A young person's self-perception, one day they may be clear, the next day they may be totally confused and not sure, and you're affirming it with hormones that have never been used in this way in the field of medicine.
You're talking about puberty blockers?
Blockers and then opposite sex hormones.
At what age does the medical transition begin with medication?
So medical affirmation begins when the patient says they're ready for it. So that could be a kiddo who is just starting puberty and panicking because they're getting breast buds or their penis is getting bigger and busier and they're worried about all kinds of masculine changes. And that way, puberty blockers, which are completely reversible and don't have permanent effects, are wonderful because we can put that pause on puberty. Just like if you were listening to music, you put the pause on and we stop the blockers and puberty would go right back to where it was. The next note in the song just delayed that period of time.
You can just pause puberty.
No, you can't.
No.
What? Dude.
For what I heard,
that's a lie.
I'll reverse
100% lie. 100% lie. She just completely 100% lied. That is not reversible.
Why would you use that comparison?
You cannot put a pause on puberty and just start it up again whenever you want. No,
this ain't Hulu.
It don't work that way.
This ain't Hulu or Netflix. You can't.
Oh my God.
Hell? Why? Okay, even if you want to say that, comparing that to pausing like an album and like track 5,
no,
and then listening to it like next week,
that's it is not completely reversible either. If you stop it soon enough, it can be.
Why would you compare those two?
Because
and then pick it up.
She's insane.
Like
you can't.
For the future.
No, you can't. How many studies do they have, long-term studies, on hormone blockers with children? None.
I just spoke a month or 2 ago with a mother whose 14-year-old daughter was put on blockers. They discovered after 2 years, this 14-year-old girl has osteoporosis. That's something that like old women get.
How can doctors...
Damn!
14-year-old with osteoporosis.
That's the bones, right?
Yes, bones, brittle bones.
Mm-hmm.
Because she didn't get to go through puberty to strengthen her bones.
It stunts your growth, too.
There's a process that you go through in puberty.
Yeah.
Is it pleasant? No.
What the hell, dude?
But it's a process your body needs to go through. Is it a confusing time? Of course it is. Do we like it? No. But we
can't interrupt what
is natural.
Is natural, what the process of being a human. You know what I'm saying? You cannot interrupt that.
What would you do if you found out your daughter had osteoporosis at 15 or 16? Something you get when you're like 80.
Damn.
that a certain medicine is
Damn.
totally safe, if based on what you're saying, they can't possibly know that.
How can they be removing the healthy breasts of 15-year-old girls? How can they be sterilizing kids? How can this whole thing be happening, Matt?
Every child that they convince is transgender and in need of medical transition, it generates $1.3 million to pharma. And we're believing a pharmaceutical company, Lupron, hormone blockers, reversible, so they say. Well, the truth is that in 2003, Lupron was sued and deemed a criminal enterprise by the US government. They paid the most fine of any pharmaceutical company at that time, $874 million, wrote a check.
Is Lupron chemical castration?
Yes. We're giving it to pedophiles, aren't we? We're giving it to people that are dying. And
That's
we're
true.
giving it to kids, telling them that they were born in the wrong body and it's completely safe.
One of the drugs used is Lupron, right? Which has actually been used to chemically castrate sex offenders?
You know what? I'm not sure that we should continue with this interview because it seems like
Why
it's
not?
going in a particular direction.
Well, you're a medical professional,
I am a medical professional.
so you don't want to talk about the drugs that you give to kids, or?
Again, I'm a physician and I use medication. You're choosing exploitive words. Drugs I give to kids.
I'm choosing a
chemical
word
castration.
that was in a dictionary.
That's not a correct term for puberty blocking in a
I could like look it
transgender
up on my
person.
phone, but I'm pretty sure if I looked it up, like
You can look it up on your phone.
it says medical definition, the administration of a drug to bring about a marked reduction in the body's production of androgens and especially testosterone.
And I'm saying, as a pediatrician who takes care of hundreds of these kids, when you use that terminology, you are being malignant and harmful.
I mean, there are some who would say that giving chemical castration drugs to kids is malignant and harmful.
It's about the context of caring for a child and seeing
What?
the suffering that kids can have that have not been in affirmative home situations.
What do you say to the claim that, well, we have to
Whoa!
do this for these kids?
So we have to chemically castrate them?
She's trying to stay phase.
Because if we don't, they'll kill themselves. They'll resort to drugs and self-harm.
A lot of them were hurting themselves. A lot of them were suicidal before they even discovered gender. That is never part of the discussion. And they say, what would you rather have? A living daughter or a dead son? If this is what the professionals are saying, it's terrible emotional blackmail.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Hello?
Hey, is this?
This is, yes.
Hey, it's Matt Walsh. Where are you right now?
I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada right now.
Are you able to leave?
I'm not able to leave BC. I can't even go to another province in Canada right now. And it's because I'm technically out on bail.
What happened exactly?
Whoa! Whoa!
How exactly did this get into the courts to begin with?
Right, so what happened is we set up a meeting with BC Children's Hospital. And according to the BC Children's Hospital website, there's going to be a thorough evaluation, and I'm thinking, good, this is going to be the end of it all. They're going to clearly see that my child is not the opposite sex. So my ex-wife brings my child into BC Children's Hospital. I get a call less than an hour into that appointment is that they were going to pump her full of cross-sex hormones within the hour. And I put a halt to that. I said, no. They agreed to stop for the moment. They figured, well, let's get the dad on board too. This is all going to be better. Let's just get everybody on the same page. I said, it's not going to happen. So I get a letter from BC Children's Hospital in December of 2018. And it says that under the BC Infants Act, they will start injecting my child with cross-sex hormones. And I have 2 weeks to respond with legal action if I so choose. And so that's how I ended up in court, because I did respond with legal action.
So you called your daughter a she, and you went to jail for that?
It's considered criminal violence to not use the preferred pronouns. It is no different than, let's say, I were to take a broomstick and whack one of my kids over the head. So they were treating it in a similar fashion, that Miss misgendering, mispronouncing my child was the equivalent of family violence.
Is she on the hormone pills now?
That's insane. He went to jail for calling his daughter his daughter. This is what they want to do here.
This game's so close.
They want to put you in jail for misgendering somebody.
She is. The court ordered that she could do whatever she wanted.
2010 until I would say.
Why does this feel like it's a fucking movie?
It's a documentary.
No, but like it feels like it's the plot of a movie.
Yeah. I know. The sad part is, Ian, it's the plot of our goddamn lives right now. This is what's going on in the world. Well, United States anyway.
This is getting out of control.
2016, I would say 80% of my clients were trans youth. Now it is, you identify, you take hormones, you do surgery. There isn't any other pathways.
So if you have two parents, one parent wants to affirm the trans identity, the other parent doesn't, who wins that battle?
The one who wants to affirm.
Every time?
Every single time. The goal is to get the parents to affirm the kid.
There's no such thing as a gender-affirming therapist. That's a contradiction in terms.
Why?
Because you don't affirm if you're a therapist.
Oh, I've heard of Jordan Peterson.
I love Dr. Peterson.
I've heard of Jordan Peterson.
I love Dr. Peterson. This dude is amazing. Super intelligent. And sounds like Kermit the Frog. Amazing.
Business to affirm. You come to see me because there's something wrong. Maybe you come to see me because a destructive element of you is wreaking havoc in your life. I'm on the side of the part of you that wants to aim up, man. That's what I'm on the side of. Okay, now I don't know what that means in your case, but we're going to talk about it. Am I going to affirm what you think? No, it's not up to me to affirm it. You don't get a casual pat on the back from a therapist for your pre-existing axiomatic conclusions. That's not therapy. That's a rubber stamp.
Is anybody
exactly
at any point explaining to these kids the real long-term consequences of hormones and puberty blockers?
I don't think they're explaining it to the kids. So that has frightened me, that it's become, that we're even talking to the kids about it at 10. We're presenting it in schools.
So this generation, they're the lab rats.
Biological sex, binary. It's been binary for like 100 million
pretty
years,
much,
longer than
Ian,
that.
what they're doing with the transgender thing right now with the kids is pretty much the Tuskegee experiment on steroids.
Yeah, that shit was fucked up too.
We're going to be looking back on this, what's going on right now in 50 years, going, I can't believe what they were doing to our kids.
It's a massive social experiment.
And that should be terrifying. That there's people okay with this. We found out the Nazis were trying to turn people's eyes colors and we were freaking out. And now we're okay with people trying to change kids' genders?
That shit's wild, man.
Temperament is not binary, temperament or personality.
So that's gender. Temperament is gender?
Well, gender is not a good word because it's vague and it isn't measurable.
So do we need it? Why can't we just say temperament? What do we even need the word gender for?
Well, I don't need it.
Yeah.
But what I would say is that people who talk about the diversity in gender are actually talking about diversity in personality and temperament, but they don't know it. You can have a masculine temperament if you're a woman. Maybe 1 in 10 women have the average temperament of a man. And you can have feminine men temperamentally. And
That's
it's
true.
not that uncommon because the differences between men and women temperamentally aren't that great. There are masculine girls. There are feminine boys. What are we going to do about that? Carve them up?
You as someone who started your...
No, that's true. Some dudes are feminine.
Exactly.
And some girls are more dominant.
That doesn't mean you cut off his dick and cut off her breasts.
No, it's true. It's like...
I was saying that earlier. Remember that sometimes the structure, females are structured more like a male, but that's a small percentage.
Exactly.
You know?
You don't carve them up.
professional life.
You don't turn them into human jack-o'-lanterns.
Transgender care.
Yeah.
Now you're sitting here talking to me. And I'm a dangerous man, I've been told.
Mm-hmm.
Are you worried about reprisals? Are you worried about how this is going to play among your professional peers?
I am worried that I can't have conversations with any other peers. I don't know any other peer that will speak to me around these things that question it. I just don't think developmentally this is helpful to our children.
You step wrong as a therapist, you say the wrong thing once and like your bloody career is over. And now it's the same with physicians. How's that gonna work? You're gonna go have an honest conversation with your physician when he's terrified out of his mind that he'll say something politically incorrect during the diagnostic processes? Hey man, you're sick with whatever you wanna be. See you later. You want a prescription for something?
I left academia because the climate had become too stifling politically, especially when it comes to the topic of gender identity and the science of gender. It is absolutely impossible to do good research. You basically have to decide beforehand what you're going to find so that you don't upset activists, and that is not how you do science.
Why has this shift occurred where all of a sudden gender and sex have become so politically and culturally charged?
There's a really ugly history between sex researchers and transgender activists. In the past, if any sex researcher spoke out about science that went against activist orthodoxy or particular narratives that activists wanted to promote, they would basically have their personal and professional reputations ruined. So what you see is that only experts who toe the party line and say the things that activists like, those are the people who get attention, those are the people who get lifted up in the media. And also, I would say people are incentivized to go along with the activist narratives and gender ideology because that helps their career.
Trans is very cool. Trans is a way of giving yourself value, given the way society at the moment is functioning. All of the things that used to give us anchors of identity have become very fluid or very volatile in recent years. And into that context, I think what you find then is new identities start to fill the void or the vacuum. Whereas in the past, I might have got my sense of self-worth from being part of the village where I grew up. Now I might get my sense of self-worth through being part of the online community that I connect with, or part of the sexual identity community.
So now we are seeing kids that are identifying as animals going to school, and they are purring instead of answering questions, and they meow, and the teachers are not allowed to question it because it's considered a queer identity.
So you have kids that are going to school and they're saying, I'm a cat. Mm-hmm. And the teachers have to affirm them as a cat.
Yes. So it's
so
not
schools
just
are like
the young
literal zoos now, basically.
They are.
I am a 27-year-old transgender woman. I am a wolf-therian and a member of the furry fandom.
When and how did you discover this inner wolfness?
Probably around age 10 or 11. I was watching an anime about wolves and see the wolf running across the screen, and I'm somehow just intrinsically like, oh, that's me.
Have you spent any time around biological wolves?
Yes.
That sounds dangerous also. What context are you?
So I was a volunteer with a preserve, and I've also visited many wolf preserves.
Are you able to communicate with the wolves?
Am I going to have a conversation with a wolf in the way that I'm communicating you and I? Obviously not. Am I going to read their body language, respond appropriately to their behaviors and their nonverbal cues? Yes.
Would you be able to give us an example of this wolf communication?
No. I'm not comfortable doing so.
Okay, all right. How exactly have these ideas become so pervasive?
First of all, I think we need to remember that in the West, at least, we have it drilled into our minds from childhood onwards that personal happiness is the key to individual flourishing. Secondly, we think of ourselves in psychological terms. I am my feelings. And in order for me to be happy, I have to be able to express my feelings. I have to be outwardly that which I feel myself to be inwardly. Thirdly, we're taught that interfering with somebody else's happiness is very bad. We need to acknowledge that there are powerful lobby groups, powerful cultural and political lobby groups driving this thing. Hollywood is pressing LGBTQ plus matters in so many movies.
Yeah.
We're seeing it in the way Amazon sets up its algorithms. There are all kinds of factors in society that are pushing what would really be numerically a fairly minority interest into being one of the main political focal points of this generation.
After my operation, I will be a woman.
Why can't she just be a lesbian?
Because she's not a lesbian, Mom. She's a boy.
Because I was born in a girl's body.
Can I ask you a question? Why don't you kiss me?
The whole idea of social contagion, that there could be something in one's social environment that could play some role in somebody coming out identifying as trans, would you say that that is definitely part of your story?
When I look back, I don't think I would have ever even considered seeing myself as a boy without these social aspects, especially if I hadn't joined these online communities.
I identify as non-binary. I'll officially be changing my pronouns to they, them.
My pronouns are he, him, and demon, self.
I've been going by they, them pronouns for 4 years
Vito,
now.
Vito, don't look over here.
Demon
Vito,
and demon self.
Vito, don't look over here, bro. Vito, don't look over here.
Demon?
Vito, don't look over. Don't look over here, Vito.
Let me make sure I heard that right.
Vito, no. Bring that flag.
That's what's going on. They want to bring out the imagination to real life, to reality, to their
You know, it's really good to have a very good active imagination. It's a beautiful thing. Your imagination is not reality.
Exactly.
We're gonna hit flag.
That's why it's men. Yeah. I can even take right.
Hit play on that.
We're gonna hit flag.
Just hit
We're gonna hit flag.
This is. I just can't anymore.
There was literally a period of a few weeks to a few months. I started out as an ally, and then eventually I was starting to identify as transgender.
We are trans models. So they go on the internet and they're told that all of their problems will be solved if they become a man.
Kids are being taught you might feel like you're a boy, even if you have a vagina and you're a girl. You are what you feel you are.
Some people are girls, some are boys, some are both, some are neither. Gender is all about how we feel on the inside and how we express ourselves.
Ah, the gender fluid teacher. What do I go by in the classroom? I go by Teacher Fambrini.
As a queer and trans teacher, my agenda is to show little boys that they don't have to be like as stereotypically masculine, that they can like paint their nails and wear earrings and like still be a guy and like it can be cool.
So you worry that there could be a sort of social contagion element of this?
A teeny tiny bit, maybe.
Looking back on it, it was the same pattern, just kids who were really struggling, kids who were very alone and isolated.
They have anxiety. They don't fit in with their peers. They don't know where they belong.
Maybe they didn't have a welcoming family life. They just got caught up in these communities online.
Then they discover, hey, there's this group of people, and they also don't fit in. They're different. They're not sure who they are. Gee, that's where I fit in.
Today is the day before my top surgery. I am waking up tomorrow at 5 a.m. to have a subcutaneous mastectomy.
We're telling children when they haven't fully developed that all you have to do is medically transition and you fit in. I was one of those kids. It got me at 42. Your child doesn't have a chance.
Trans rights. This is only going in one direction. You will respect us.
As parents come to understand more
That's,
about gender identity, kids are
forgot
coming
his
out at
name.
younger ages.
It's exciting. And you know who gets it right? Is this next generation.
The next generation who's already telling us that our antiquated ideas of things have to be a certain way just don't apply to them.
They're rejecting a lot of our social mores. They're tweaking the system.
I just don't think it's realistic to put this decision on them that is basically saying, are you okay with the risk of permanent health effects that you can never ever reverse? How can you ask that of such a small child?
Exactly.
I'm a physician and I use medication.
Certainly, it's a bit of a Faustian bargain.
puberty blockers, which are completely reversible.
You keep invoking the word truth, which is condescending and rude.
Some women have penises, right? Some men have vaginas.
Does a chicken cry? Does a chicken commit
Why
suicide?
does this feel like a Saw
I'm
movie?
not a woman, so I can't really answer that.
I guess because I got a dick.
Oh, yes, it's a nightmare. It is.
Somehow this madness has infected our entire society. Am I the crazy one? I'm done asking questions.
Tanner Cross is on administrative leave for what he said about gender identity. He said he would not call a student who's transgender by their preferred pronoun.
I can't lie to children, and I got to also represent a whole community that believes in biological facts and scientific facts. And I can't do that to kids.
You get into teaching because you love kids. And this policy started coming into play, and I was like, wait a minute, it's causing me, I'm gonna have to lie to my kids, the ones I've always wanted to protect.
Do we have assaults in our bathrooms or our locker rooms regularly?
To my knowledge, we don't have any records of assaults occurring in our restroom. The predator transgender student or person, simply, it does not exist.
The Virginia Department of Education says it is now reviewing whether the Loudoun County School District has properly reported cases of sexual assault. This comes after a 15-year-old was charged on 2 separate occasions for assaulting 2 different students at different schools.
I remember this incident.
Yep.
Dozens rallying tonight in Loudoun County to protest the school's policies.
So that includes limiting who can talk during public comment portions of board meetings. One speaker leased property in the area just so he could speak tonight. Fox 5's Paris Jones is live with the details.
That's right. Conservative commentator Matt Walsh told me he's leasing out someone's basement in Loudoun County so he'd be able to speak during tonight's meeting.
I decided last week to fulfill my lifelong dream of being a Loudoun County resident. You know, I've always felt like I lived in Tennessee. I felt sort of like a Virginian trapped in a Tennessean's body. I identify as sort of state fluid, I guess.
This is Matt Walsh. He tweeted, "How do you do, fellow Virginians?"
So
Now
he
I just
leased.
gotta explain to my wife and kids.
I love that. He leased out a room so he could go speak at the school board because they said only residents could speak at the school board. That is beautiful. I forgot he did that.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
They tried to muzzle me by not allowing me to speak. And when that didn't work, they tried to muzzle me with a mask. I would thank you all for allowing me to speak to you tonight, but you tried not to allow it, yet here I am. Now, you only give us 60 seconds, so let me get to the point. You are all child abusers. You prey upon impressionable children and indoctrinate them into your insane ideological cult, a cult which holds many fanatical views, but none so deranged as the idea that boys are girls and girls are boys. By imposing this vile nonsense on students to the point even of forcing young girls to share locker rooms with boys, you deprive these kids of safety and privacy and something more fundamental too, which is truth. If education is not grounded in truth, then it is worthless. Worse, it is poison. You are poison. You are predators. I can see why you try to stop us from speaking. You know that your ideas are indefensible. You silence the opposing side because you have no argument. You can only hide under your beds like pathetic little gutless cowards hoping we shut up and go away, but we won't. I promise you that.
And they didn't.
Johnny's a boy with a big imagination.
That's right, he wrote a kid's book.
One day he's a dog, the next day a crustacean.
I gotta rhyme it like that.
Johnny's mom loves her son's make-believe time. You're Johnny the Walrus till you change your mind.
Matt
Walsh is out with a new children's book. The book is called Johnny the Walrus. What is this about?
It sold out on Amazon in a few hours.
So I have embraced my true calling as a children's author, hence the cardigan. The book is about a little boy who's very imaginative and playful, and like I have 4 kids, and they all have an imagination.
Yeah.
And he likes to pretend to be different things, and one day he pretends to be a walrus. And unfortunately, his mother is very progressive and thus confused, and so she's convinced by the internet and by society that if your child is identifying as something, then he really is that thing. And so she tries to raise her child as a walrus, as a sort of trans walrus, respecting his self-identity. One morning, he came downstairs barking and clapping, wood spoons for tusks and sock fins a flapping. He had spoons in his mouth. He was pretending to be a walrus. I'm Johnny the Walrus, he said with a roar.
Johnny the Walrus, nedo karalo gwaru.
This is a hot topic.
Yes.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I remember this.
It's good for us
when he
to
went
have these
on,
conversations so people
Dr.
open their
Phil.
minds and relearn.
Oh, I think I've seen snippets of
this
this.
one.
Just to be a safe place to talk about and learn.
Yeah, I've seen snippets
As you can
of this.
see, there's an ongoing evolution of language and how people can identify.
My next guest, author and conservative host of Daily Wire's The Matt Walsh Show,
Damn,
talking about
170
his
people.
recently
Fuck, damn.
published children's book that has since been removed online by a popular large retail chain. Now, Matt says gender is not a social construct, but rooted firmly in biology. True?
True. As human beings, we have a sex, male or female, but as a biological scientific fact. Now, gender is a linguistic term. Words have gender. People don't. You can have whatever self-perception you want, but you can't expect me to take part in that self-perception or to take part in this kind of charade, this theatrical production. You don't get your own pronouns, just like you don't get your own prepositions or your own adjectives. You know, it's like if I were to tell you, my adjectives are handsome and brilliant, and no matter whenever you're talking about me, you have to describe me as handsome and brilliant because that's how I identify.
So you think it's a delusion?
Well, this is one of the problems with this left-wing gender ideology is that no one who espouses it can even tell you what these words mean. Like, what is a woman?
Well-
Can you tell me what a woman is?
No, I can't. Womanhood is something that is an umbrella term. It includes people
That
who...
describes what?
People who identify as a woman.
What is that?
Was to each their own. Each woman, each man, each person is going to have a different relation with their own gender identity and define it differently.
So
you
that's
want to
the
reduce
problem.
women, you want to reduce men down to maybe just their genetics, our genitals,
No.
our chromosomes, right? That's what you're saying.
You want to
is
do
that
is
that's what we
what
are
you
at the end of the day.
want to do is appropriate women. You want to appropriate womanhood, and turn it into basically a costume that could be worn.
Joining us on stage is Dr. Susie Denbo, Associate Professor at Kent State University. Dr. Denbo, how do you feel those who oppose using pronouns are taking the wrong approach in this conversation?
There's the extreme approach that you are admittedly taking. And then there's also just ordinary people that might not be comfortable with the language change.
She began by saying that my view is extreme. Okay, so the view that every single person on Earth has held up until 15 seconds ago is extreme. They are conflating gender and sex because on one hand they say, well, you got your biological sex, but then your gender is whatever social construct. But then they turn around and say that trans women are women. So a man who identifies with the gender, the social construct of womanhood, actually is a woman.
Part of me wants to ask why you care so much, because it's really not that big of a deal.
Oh, yeah, can I answer that? I care about the truth. So basic truth matters. I want to live in a society where people care about the truth. I care about children, and these insane ideas about gender are being foisted on kids, and that bothers me quite a bit. I care about the women who are having their opportunities stolen from them. I care quite a bit, yeah.
I wanted us to have a safe place to be able to talk about this, and it seems like we should just keep the dialogue going and hopefully find some middle ground.
Wow. Wow. You can't
Just because of saying
Wow.
the truth. Just because of the truth.
Pause that real quick. Emotionally damaged from a conversation. And they took the episode down.
Well, they can't handle the truth.
What did he say there that would have been emotionally damaging, Ian?
I just can't anymore. I
I
can't
don't know what you
anymore with
want me
this
to
with
say.
this
I don't-
with this situation. This is
It's not like he's. All I can say is he's not like it's. He's not saying that you're not worthy of life or you're less of value. He just says
stating the facts of the biology of a male and a female.
he's not being trans. If he was being transphobic, see, here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. People who are so quick to use the words transphobic or homophobic, it just shows you don't know what the word phobia means.
Nope.
Phobia means you have a fear of something.
Exactly.
Like you fear that it's going to cause damage to you.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you don't agree with someone transitioning, that does not mean you hate them or wish death upon them or anything.
Mm-hmm. You just have a difference of
You
opinion.
just have a difference in opinion. So please, like phobia, like just learn what like xenophobic means you fear people from other ethnicities or other countries.
Yep.
And if you fear, honestly, I feel sorry for you. That's my opinion. Like, I just feel sorry. But like, I don't agree with everything the LGBTQ, whatever the community, everything the community does. I don't fear any of them.
No.
I don't fear you. I don't give a if you gay or you trans. Do what the fuck you want to do with your life.
Again, just don't throw it in my face.
Yeah, like doesn't mean I'm going to have the same belief in every single damn thing you do with your life or what you believe in.
That is not going to happen. Nope.
I don't expect everyone to agree with me or have the same beliefs as me. If I believe something and you think it's ludicrous, that's your business.
Yep.
You got to stop treating opinion like fact, and you got to stop expecting everyone to share the same belief system as you.
You can't go around thinking that the entire world is going to look at your world.
Yes, yeah, and like I've said, like just find the people who vibe with
It's
you.
like, oh, I feel that this is wrong, and you should feel that that's wrong too.
It's 7 billion people on the goddamn planet.
It doesn't work that way.
You need to have conversations with people that disagree with you. Conversations, not angry and getting mad. You need to talk with people.
There's 7 billion people in this world. If you're gonna wake up every day and expecting all 7 billion people to agree with you, good fucking luck.
But you need to talk to people to challenge your view, though. You can't talk with just people who agree with you all the time.
Yeah, and stop acting like you're the smartest one in the room.
You don't want to be stuck in an echo chamber. And if you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong guy.
You're in the wrong room.
This is just wow. Good.
What do you say to parents? A parent comes to you and says, my 8-year-old son is telling me he's a girl.
Yeah, great. You're going to have them do an experimental procedure that creates the most suicidal ideation of any other population 7 to 10 years after, transition. And here's what I tell parents. You don't have the right to medically transition your child.
We have no research on long-term hormone use. We will be seeing the first generation of long-term hormone use. And we already know, at least with 10 years of hormones, you're giving yourself cancer.
What's your message to parents who are trying to cope with this?
The first thing is to tell parents that they're not alone. It is our responsibility as a parent to be the frontline defense for our children. And I know with my child, a lot of people will say, was it worth it? Because you now seemingly have lost your child. And I'll say, yeah, but at least I've saved my conscience and my morals and my convictions. And when my child turns 25 and says, Dad, where were you? I'll say, I was there. I was fighting as hard as I could. I was not prepared to let this happen.
That's going to be the worst possible thing. That if his child decides that, why did this get to happen to me? And he's going to be like, I tried to stop it.
Yeah. It's just crazy, man.
It should not be legally able transition kids. This is
Does this really matter is another question. So,
Matters for those who are getting double mastectomies when they're 16.
why should we care if we live in a society where gender is
Well,
fluid?
I cared because my government decided that I had to call people by the terms that they designated, or I'd be subject to legal penalties. It's like, no, I'm not doing that. I don't care what your reason is. You don't get control of my tongue.
We live in a climate now in
exactly.
which
You don't get to tell
no one
me
seems to care about the safety of women and
what I
girls
have to
who
say and how
are
I have
going
to
through a
think.
very developmental.
You don't get to have control over my thoughts. You don't get to tell me what I'm going to call you.
This shit
Again,
is
if we're
wild.
friends, I will respect what you have. But if we don't know each other, and at first glance I say something, it is what it is.
This shit's
It
wild.
doesn't mean I'm doing it on purpose.
This shit is just wild.
But you don't get to force somebody to think your way.
Exactly, because
It doesn't work that way.
you are identifying what you how you call it, what you recognize,
Yep.
what you see in there. If you see a person that looks like a male, then you're gonna say it's a him. And if that person is trying to be a female, I'm sorry, you look like a male. What do you want me to say?
Challenging time in their lives. They may not want to share spaces with their male peers. I would not be surprised in a few years, there will no longer be women's sports. It will literally be men's sports and transgender sports.
The question being asked by the trans person is a legitimate one. How can I be happy? The answer being given by having my body transformed to look like the other gender, by having myself pumped full of hormones, clearly isn't working. And we have to find a better and the more humane way of dealing with individuals who are struggling with gender dysphoria.
I have the utmost compassion for people who suffer from gender dysphoria. It's a nightmare for them and their families. The vast majority, up to 90% of kids, if they go through a normal puberty, they're gonna be okay. They will be at peace with their bodies, and they will have avoided dangerous and experimental medical interventions and surgeries.
Maybe we're up against a battle here, up against a hill that perhaps, we're not going to necessarily win today, but if we don't pave the way for a win, we'll never get there.
Very
True. It's true.
So we're going on this journey.
Oh, Vito's favorite person.
Boys can be girls, girls can be boys, men can be women, women can be men. It makes me wonder, what is a woman?
What is a woman? A woman is someone who claims that as their identity. It could be many things to many people.
I think the question really brings up the fact that it is pretty relative, right? That if you ask women across race, across identities, across class, across culture, you will get a different answer.
Some of it is, based on biology. Some of it is based on hormones. Some of it is based on what you wear and how you present yourself.
A woman is not anything in particular. There's no one particular thing.
There is not one particular thing.
A woman is someone who says that she is a woman and transitions to be a woman.
Who says that she's what? Can you define the word woman without using the word woman?
And it's actually kind of it's a curious question, but I
can't do it.
We've been journeying across the country asking people this question, and almost nobody.
Gender studies can't define woman without using the word woman.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Because it's making them say the truth, the fact of what is a woman.
Oh, that one stumped me. Oh, Jesus. Can't use woman in the definition of what a woman is. Fuck, how do I say this?
Somebody that doesn't have
somebody that doesn't have a dick.
No, somebody that doesn't have a degree, that doesn't have the knowledge that they have. I mean, I don't know what kind of knowledge they have. I could describe what a woman is. But somebody that's teaching, there's a professor or whatever, can't say what a woman is. That doesn't make any sense. You should know what a woman is. It's a basic fucking question.
Yeah.
Nobody can answer it.
What is a woman?
What is a woman?
Marry one and find out.
So I should go home and ask my wife, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to find out. It's funny.
Hey, I've been meaning to ask you something.
Uh-huh.
It's his actual wife?
Yes, that's his
oh,
actual
okay.
wife.
What is a woman?
An adult human female who needs help opening this.
Yes. Yes. Have I done that? Yes. Yes. I feel better now. Thank you. That made me feel better. Jesus. Thank you. Yo, that made me feel better.
Whoa.
Thank God.
All right, we made it through.
Made it through the whole thing?
Damn. I'll leave it right there.
Wow.
Wow.
That is definitely a video that every parent should be watching today.
Man, that's a
Almost
lot.
Everybody should be watching this document.
That's a lot. Woo! That's a lot to do. Woo. 3 parts.
That's a big weight. Hold on to. I swear to God, man. That's
There's
just...
no here pumping water. Oh man.
Goddamn.
Guys, we are ready for whatever comment you want to give us.
Yeah, oh yeah. We're interested.
This will definitely make it to Rumble.
Yeah.
I don't know how far it'll make it on YouTube.
We'll see. It's probably gonna get banned on YouTube, but we'll see.
Probably.
I'll have to put content disclaimer and everything on it, but
Mm-hmm.
it'll definitely be on Rumble.
And again, Daily Wire, hopefully you don't block the video. We're not trying to make money off of you.
Yeah.
We needed to react to this.
But
this is something that everybody
we need
should
our
be seeing.
subscribers to see this.
Damn.
Please do not block us.
A lot to talk about.
Oh yes, there was much
to talk about.
This is something that everybody needs to
So
know.
overall thoughts on the film?
I like the open-mindedness of asking different people their perspectives in order to actually identify an operational definition. I guess my view of a explanation of a woman is somebody with somebody with significant female hormones that can produce that can procreate and
yeah,
give birth to
that is supposed to have the ability to
yes, that is supposed to have the ability to procreate and give birth to another human.
Yes.
Now, I will say this. Just because a woman can give birth does not mean she can be a mother.
I agree with that.
It's just like, with the natural design and a natural intent, any woman can give birth to a child. That does not mean they can mother the child.
Just like any man can get a woman pregnant,
doesn't mean they can be actual father.
Yeah,
exactly.
Besides the point. But the body functions.
Yeah, that has the machinery.
The machinery. You explain that of what a woman.
But
is.
the fact still matters. The man gets a woman pregnant.
Exactly.
A woman cannot get a man pregnant. A man cannot give birth to a child.
Just imagine that. Like how was.
I mean, shit. If you can clone a goat, you can do that.
So you can clone, but imagine pushing a kid out your dick.
Ow.
That's a little hole.
Ow. Yeah. Jeez, man.
Ooh.
All I got to say is, man, y'all, just don't be so quick to get upset about questions. Y'all too quick.
And
Y'all get triggered too easily.
You can respect each other, but still
Disagree.
Yeah. But saying the truth should never be compromised.
Don't need to be
Saying the
hateful.
truth should never divide a friendship.
And we will say it here. I'll say it here. Blite Media, we welcome anybody, gay, straight, transgender, whatever. It doesn't matter what your sexual orientation is. Doesn't matter what your religious beliefs are. Doesn't matter however you identify. As long as you come, you're civil. You're cool with agreeing to disagree. It's cool with you.
Exactly. 100%.
So I will say, I don't think it ever has been really talked about. I just always thought it was assumed. I think by the way we do content and the way we talk, we're kind of more for mature audiences.
Try to be.
We try to be. Which I will say is more of like 18 and up.
Yeah.
If your kid accidentally finds us, I apologize. It sounds like you got to do better parenting. I'm 27. I'm not going to sugarcoat and be clean with everything.
No.
Sometimes it slips. Sometimes I intend it for it. But everybody 18 and over, you know what to expect. 12-year-old finds us, I apologize.
We try to be family friendly, but get slipped.
Like, it even says in the description of our YouTube videos, no, not made for kids.
Yeah.
So, just saying.
We try to be family friendly, but not kid friendly.
Yeah. So, but with that being said, I hope y'all enjoy the conversations we had. I hope y'all didn't enjoy the dark shit in this.
No, nobody should have enjoyed that.
But I hope y'all enjoyed the platform that we try to give for open conversation.
Like discussions like this.
Exactly.
Because conversations, especially about topics like this, need to be had.
We're not afraid to talk about stuff.
No, not at all.
But as always, like, comment, subscribe, blow us up. You know where we're at, y'all.
Thanks for stopping at spend time today. Hit that notification bell and give us a share because it does help the channel out.
Please and thank you.
See you guys in the next one.
Later, y'all.
Peace.